coach, an astrologer, sound therapist, energy healer, NLP trainer, and a body therapist. She's a certified life coach from Louis Hay Program, USA. With over 20 years of experience, she is equipped to handle all life issues that show up on her table. She is the founder of Golden Age Transformation, helping lives integrate into the fifth dimension. She has a deep understanding of the laws of manifestation that help her to integrate people's mind, body, soul, and emotions to create a fulfilling life. I have with me Dr. Ramon Llamba, a spiritual life coach, a healer, and a therapist. So are you ready to get coached? Welcome, Ramon. I thank you for being part of our Get Coached series, and it's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you so much, Samira, for having me over. And I must appreciate this great initiative that you've started, and I wish you all the best for this endeavor. I'm sure you're going to inspire many more lives with this momentum that you've started.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions today, and the intent is to get to know you better and also to make sure that people who are watching us, our audience, get some great ideas from you. Okay. So I first want to know, how did your journey happen and how did you get here to become this absolutely fabulous life and spiritual coach? What helped you to transform?
So when you really understand the whole context of our existence on this planet, Samira, every single soul who has come here is here for a purpose, right? And we call this the dharma, right? And our karma actually takes us towards our dharma. And because we are not technically trained on these contexts and these subjects, most of the people live a life of unpurpose, and they die with the music that they came to play for the universe. They die with that music in their hearts. And at a very, very young age, by default. So I don't want to take the credit for this myself, but I would just like to give the credit to some very infinite divine intelligence that was always ruling over my childhood, which always kept me connected within my purpose. And I just knew at the age of 14 that this is what I have to do. I have to bring peace on the planet, and I don't know how. Right? Being a very logical person myself, the philosophical concepts did not really resonate with me well, you know. But there was a part of me, the very intrinsic part of me, always nudged me that there is something larger than life, there's something greater than life. And that is when I was 20 years and I had both my kids at 20, I was questioning life with the challenges that were thrown to me. And I got into understanding energy science, studying the subject, because at that time there was really not much available. So that drove me into understanding NLP, karmic science, the science of the soul, energy healing. So various modalities took me here and there, everywhere. And I was applying all of that into my own life. And I realized one very important thing, that if I really wanted to stand up and change the world, I had to be the change. Now, that was a very, very, very tall commitment to make with the universe, because guess what? If you have to learn to help people deal with all the challenges, the universe is going to give you all those challenges first in your life, and you got to deal with it. And that was when the journey started. And I was facing every single thing which was like really not acceptable in life: financial challenges, relationship challenges, health challenges. But within that, I knew there was a very intrinsic, profound power that was driving me through this and guiding me, you know. And then I began to get a grip on these concepts. And that is when I was intrigued to do my PhD in quantum physics, to really understand the science of this whole spiritual knowledge that had driven me ever since I was a kid. And I could really join the dots of marrying science and spirituality and bringing the subject on board.
Sure.
So I think I'm just born to do this.
Yeah. No, and I completely see and know that you're doing it in the best possible way that you can, and you are transforming and changing lives. So that brings me to another question. What is the difference between a spiritual mindset and a non-spiritual mindset?
So, when you understand the mind is the driver of our reality, right? And when you function from a spiritual mindset, you're functioning from the core of the true identity that you are the spirit, because we are all souls and we are all divine beings in a physical body, right? So, when you're functioning from a spiritual mindset, you're functioning from the essence of your soul's quotient. But when you're functioning from the non spiritual mindset, you're coming from only your IQ. And that is very limited knowledge. Your IQ is your intelligence, which is in your mind, but it's a product of only the acquired knowledge that you have acquired through your conditioning and your experiences.
Right.
Right? But when you go to the SQ and you function from there, you're carrying the knowledge of the entire existence, your karmic purpose of life, your dharma, and the sole purpose of your existence on this planet, which is not so wired in your logical experience, which we call the intelligent mindset. So, if I had to put it in a very layman's perspective, coming from a spiritual mindset is a dance between the mind and the soul, where the soul is leading the mind. So, you don't be the victim in your life, because when you're functioning from your mindset, which is your logical mindset and your limited mindset, you only end up being the victim because your mind or your brain was only programmed for self preservation. So it's always keeping you in fear mechanisms, it's always giving you consequences, it's always keeping you trapped in a very limited matrix. But when you function from the spiritual mindset, you're more infinite, you're more larger than life, and you're able to express every single thing you came here to express without fear, without that whole mindset of being a victim, and you just know within you that you have the power to create your reality. So that's where the distinction is. Both the mindsets are important, but when the spirit drives the intelligent mind, you have a wholesome experience and you have a more fulfilled life and a more expansive life.
And how important is it to have the forgiveness or letting go to achieve a spiritual mindset?
First of all, when people talk about the concept of forgiveness, it has a real deep rooted connection with laws of manifestation, law of attraction, right? And people cannot really join the dots between these two areas of their life because they've never been trained to actually understand what are these dots about. So when you've not forgiven someone, you're actually carrying anger, resentment, and unforgiveness within your body, right? That person may not know about it or may know about it. So that is actually lowering your vibrations. That is putting you in a negative mindset, and you don't even know you're emitting out negative vibrations. Right? So you cannot, spirituality and a spiritual mindset is about having high positive vibes. But if you've not forgiven someone, then constantly the hurts, the pain, the drama, and the trauma is keeping you in the lower levels of your consciousness in lower vibrations. So forgiveness is a concept more you do for your own self to create abundance in your life and not for them. You're not doing anybody a favor, but you're doing yourself a huge favor by letting go of whatever happened in the past, because that's when you're able to evolve your vibrations and manifest and attract abundance in your life. You're able to love unconditionally and actually be a more of on the giving end. So yes, forgiveness is a very important concept. It's like that rock that keeps you tied up, at the very heavy levels of consciousness, and you can't really soar up to your goals and your dreams.
Yeah, and you're not really forgiving for others. You're practicing forgiveness for yourself.
For your own self.
Here and yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
So, would you like to share some of your greatest ideas that can help people to lead better spiritual lives or better lives by practicing some of the great ideas that you have taught others and you yourself have adopted?
Yeah. So the only thing I would like to tell everybody, the message that I would like to give is, what, everything that's showing up in your life, is a product of your own vibrations. And we live in a very, very, very fair universe where whatever you're emitting out as a frequency is simply coming back to you in innocence, without being analyzed, without being judged, without being even scrutinized. So, if you really want to alter the quality of your life and really upgrade your life, the journey has to be within and not without. We live our life with the mindset that, everybody in our life is creating the pain, the hurt, and the drama that's happening within us. It's really not true. But it seems true till the time we are focused on the outside. The first tip I would like to give my viewers is, my dear friends, go within to find the answers, because you are the creator of your reality, you are the destroyer of your reality. So the only person you can have a grip on is yourself. The only person you can master is yourself. And if you mastered yourself, you've mastered the universe. So when you master you master the universe, and you master every single aspect of this existence. So the journey starts within you, and the journey ends at you. So if you really, really want to do yourself a favor, rather than changing anybody else on the planet, go inside and ask yourself, who am I willing to be tomorrow? Who am I willing to upgrade myself to? The second thing is, always stay connected to your soul and your spirit. And the only tool that can take you within and create a real bond between you and your soul is your breath, your prana, right? So, breathing consciously moment to moment is the key. It sounds very easy, but it's very deep and it's very intense. People say, yeah, breathing, I do it. And I mean, what's going to happen with breathing? And they just kind of shun it under the carpet. But breathing is something that gives life to you moment to moment. And when you want to feel alive, you got to breathe consciously.
Yeah.
For me, every time I want to go within my soul, I use my breath as the vehicle to go inside me and get connected. So the moment I take a deep breath and integrate it into myself, I realize I'm alive. And you know what? When you're living from your breath, you're creating new choices, and you're not living from the past programs or your future fears. And in this moment, you have the capacity to create miracles and manifest magic. So get connected to yourself, stay connected to your breath. And the third and the most important thing is, you are not, I mean, stay as humble as you can, as grounded as you can, because there is a very, very, very divine intelligence that's really driving our lives. And we are not the doers of our reality. We are just the executors of our reality. Right? So the more humble you are, the more grounded you are, the more connected you are to Mother Earth and to your roots, I think the more you can really, really raise your wings and touch the skies. Because human beings, there's something called gravity.
Yeah.
Right? And human beings, when they begin to fly high up and become high-headed, gravity is going to pull you down with a big thud and throw you back into planet Earth to remind you that, listen, you don't belong there, you belong on planet Earth. So the more grounded you are through the process of your growth and your success, the more I think you're going to raise higher and touch the skies.
Thank you so much for those wonderful tips. I would not let you go right now, because I want you to talk a little bit about the fifth dimension shift, because that is something that's very, very powerful. And we'd like to hear a little bit about the fifth dimension, how one can transition into the fifth dimension.
Okay, so when you understand the universe, right from the beginning of the Big Bang, and everything that manifested from that chaos that came out, the cosmos, we started a dimensional reality. And when you understand this word dimension is really not a place you go to, it's just a frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And through a process of nature, Mother Earth originally was vibrating at a frequency of 3.0 hertz, which was the third dimension. And this transition shift from the third to the fourth and the fifth dimension started happening in the year 2012, right? Where Mother Earth shifted her magnetic grid and the main axis from a vibrational frequency of 3.0 hertz to 12 hertz. What does that mean? That earlier, if the vibration of the natural resonance of Mother Earth was 3.0, now it's moved from 3.0 to 12 hertz. So it's moved up. Mother Earth has raised her vibrations from the third, and from 2012 until 2019, we were transitioning from the third to the fourth dimension. And in 2019, she integrated her energy into the fifth dimension, which was to 12 point hertz. Now, that is something we need to understand, because we as a species live inside the womb of Mother Earth. And if we want to experience a life of balance and harmony and alignment, we got to align our frequency with Mother Earth's frequency.
Sure.
And that means we got to raise our vibrations, right? And that's the reason why all of this chaos that's happening is happening as a humanity for all of the human species, because for us to move up into a higher vibration, we have to let go of all the negative behaviors that we've been holding on to: anger, jealousy, hatred, competition. So the moment you let go of all of those heavy, dense frequencies that keep you lower in the lower levels of vibrations, you begin to raise your vibrations. The fifth dimension is more like a golden age. It's more like a heaven on earth where everything is going to change, right? In fact, the life that we are seeing right now is going to be the new normal. People are going to settle down much more. And there are many, many aspects to address in the fifth dimension. The invitation is really for you to master your vibrations and raise them up by being an evolved, more kind, more compassionate, more loving human being, right? Coming more from the space of your soul. And yeah, the subject is a very vast subject, Samira, and we could go on and on and on. But just for the beginners, I would like to share that much, yeah, about the fifth dimension.
No, I know this topic is so vast and there is so much to learn, and there's so much learning from here to improve our own lives.
Yes.
So I could also go on asking you questions. I would not leave you. I have so many questions in mind, but I'm sure we'll get the other opportunity. But I want to thank you for sharing so much insight into how people can make their lives better, how they can ascend into the fifth dimension, and how they can go within, how they should deep breathe and stay connected. All of these points have been absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much for the insight. Thank you so much for being here.
And thank you so much for having me over, Samira. I really, really appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you so much.